Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned for Infinitely Productions. We appreciate you subscribing to our channel, and we also appreciate the feedback, both good and bad. Please be respectful for our viewers, and if there is any type of inflammatory remarks against other people, your comments will be removed and it will be monitored by our moderators. So please enjoy the content, and we will stay tuned correcting ourselves for any grammar mistakes and mispronunciation like La Cosa Nostra. In this video, instead of covering certain typical characters that we usually go on an individual basis, we will now go over the social club, since that has been a primary subject that many people have shared in the comments section. Now we will go over each social club that we have been requested to do. If there's any more that you have in mind, please let us know in the comments. And now let's get to this video. In this video, we will go over the 9M bar. This article is being reported from the Washington Post. Please check out the source, as you can also see it for yourself, as we will share you the screenshot of the article as well, just so you have a foundation of what we're discussing. In the latter of the 1970s and early 1980s, when Scarfo and Leonetti went to the 9M bar to meet with Salvatore Merlino, they often used to see the brother of Reds Caruso there. Scarfo's brother, as far as back as he knew Reds, always talked to him at the bar. Leonetti did. Domenico Reds Caruso was reported missing by his wife on January 30th, 1962. As of this date, Caruso's body has not been found. In the days of after Philip Tester's murder in mid-March of 1981, Scarfo used the 9M bar at 9th Street and Monumentsing Avenue in South Philadelphia as a kind of headquarters for his attempt to become the new boss of the family. The 9M bar was a safe place to meet and conduct business because it was operated by a friend of Salvatore Chucky Merlino. From the latter of the 1970s until the 1980s, Merlino used the 9M bar as a hangout and as his headquarters to conduct his illegal activities and to meet with his associates. Scarfo and Leonetti often met with Merlino during that period. During those years, the bar was known as the 9M bar. The name was later changed to Anthony's Bar. One of the people who operated the bar during those years was a numbers writer who turned his action into Merlino. The family also had an illegal video gambling machine there. As soon as Tester was murdered, Scarfo began meeting with the captains of the family to try to get their support for him to become the boss. Scarfo wanted to be able to go to the commission of La Cosa Nostra in New York and say that he had the support of the captains of the family and he would like to be the next boss. Scarfo was the consigliere at the time. The captures were Santo Big Santo Idone, Joseph Joe Scafidi, John Johnny Capello, Alfred Freddy Aetzi, Frank Monte, and Frank Chicky Narducci. The 9M bar was a safe place to meet and conduct business because it was operated by a friend of Salvatore Chucky Merlino. After Phil Tester's murder, we'll cut to this part, and this will be the next jump cut. After Phil Tester's murder, and while Scarfo was contacting the captains of the family to get their support for him to become boss, he met with Alfred Freddy Aetzi at a bar that Aetzi owned in Philadelphia. The bar was known as the Old Timers Tavern and was located at Wharton Street near Broad Street. Aetzi had been a captain in the family for many years and was Scarfo's captain for several years until Tester made Scarfo his consigliere in 1980. Scarfo and Aetzi met at the Old Timers Tavern because it was a safe place where Scarfo could talk to Ayetzi about becoming the boss. Ayetzi agreed to support Scarfo for that proposition. Leonetti, Lawrence Merlino, and Salvatore Merlino also attended the meeting and were also present for the conversation between Scarfo and Ayetzi. Leonetti had been to the Old Times Tavern many times over the years with Scarfo for various meetings since Scarfo reported to Ayetzi at Old Time. Ayetzi used the Old Timers Tavern as his headquarters for illegal activities. A couple of days later, after Testa's death, Scarfo went to the Captain Santoidone and Frank Monte at the 9M bar and got their support for him to become the boss. Leonetti, Salvatore Merlino, and Lawrence Merlino were also present at the meeting. Idone said that he would support Scarfo if Scarfo agreed to get along better with his relatives who were La Cosa Nostra members in the family. For many years, Scarfo had not been on very good terms with his uncles, Nicholas, Joseph, and Michael Piccolo, and cousin Anthony Piccolo. Scarfo agreed. Scarfo didn't have to try and convince Monte to support him because they were friends and Monte would have automatically backed Scarfo. At the same time, the underboss of the family, Pete Casella, was also attempting to become the boss. Casella was close with Captain Frank Chicky Narducci Sr., another member of the family. Harry the Hump Riccabini also wanted to be the boss. At Phil Testa's wake, Frank Chicky Narducci told Scarfo that Pete Casella wanted to meet Scarfo afterwards at Johnny Capello's house. The wake and Capello's house were both in South Philadelphia. Scarfo was almost certain by then that Casella and Narducci were behind Testa's murder. Because Scarfo was concerned that he was being set up to be killed, he took Ralph Blackie Napoli aside at the wake and told Napoli to immediately drive to North Jersey and let Bobby Manna know that Scarfo wanted to meet with him the next day about becoming the boss of the family. Manna was a member of the Genovese family of La Cosa Nostra. Napoli told Scarfo that he would meet with Manna and then drive right back to Philadelphia to tell him what Manna had said. Scarfo and Napoli agreed to meet at the 9M bar as soon as Napoli returned. This bar, which was located at 1304 Wharton Street in South Philadelphia, it has been a meeting place for boss Angelo Bruno from 1941 to 1956. Alfred Ayetzi held the liquor license and operated the business as Ticket Grill. He held another license that ran the bar as Old Timers Tavern from January 1971 until 1978, when he transferred the license to his wife. The license was sold in November 1983. Scarfo then told Leonetti, Lawrence Merlino, Frank Monte, and Santoidone to go to the 9M bar after the wake and wait for him, Salvatore Merlino, to return from the meeting with Casella. Fearing for Scarfo's safety, Leonetti took John Capella at the 9M bar as insurance against Scarfo's being killed. Capella was Pete Casella's brother-in-law, but was not really worth much as insurance because Casella had never gotten along very well with him. Leonetti told Capella that night that he was going to kill him if anything happened to Scarfo. Leonetti, Santoidone, Frank Monte, Lawrence Merlino, and John Capello went to the 9M bar to wait for Scarfo. When Scarfo and Salvatore Merlino arrived, Scarfo told them that Pete Casella, Anthony Tony Casella, Johnny Cuckoo Grande, Joseph Joey Grande, Frank Chicky Narducci, and Rocco Rocky Marinucci had all been at Capella's house for the meeting. At the time, all were members of the family, except Joseph Grande and Rocco Marinucci. John Grande was the father of Joseph Grande, Anthony Casella, and was Peter's brother. Scarfo said that when he and Merlino arrived at Capella's house, Marinucci was listening to a police scanner, and the rug in the room where they were meeting it had been rolled up. Scarfo said that he felt that they were going to try to kill them and Merlino. Pete Casella told Scarfo that he found out from somebody in New York that Philip Testa had been murdered by John Berkey, who was an associate of the family. Casella then said that he wanted Scarfo to kill Berkey to retaliate for the Testa murder. Scarfo told Casella and the other that he didn't believe it. Scarfo also told them that he would be meeting with Bobby Manna the next day to explain that what he thought was happening. About 2 a.m., Ralph Napoli arrived at the 9M bar, where everyone who had gone there previously was still waiting for him. Napoli told Scarfo that he had talked to Manna and arranged for a meeting that day. Scarfo and Napoli both had to miss Testa's funeral in order to attend the meeting. Early in the day, Scarfo and Napoli went to the New York City area, where Scarfo met with Manna. Scarfo told Manna that when he met with Pete Casella and others, said that he felt that Casella and some others were responsible for Testa's murder. After talking to Scarfo, Manna decided to set up an appointment for Scarfo to meet with Vincent the Gigante and Anthony Fat Tony Salerno. Gigante was the boss of the Genovese family, and Salerno was a high-ranking member. After Manna scheduled the meeting, he got word to Scarfo about the arrangement and told Scarfo to tell Pete Casella that he had to attend. Because Testa's death had not been sanctioned by the Commission of La Cosa Nostra, it conducted an investigation to determine who was responsible. The Genovese family was in charge of conducting the investigation. As boss of the Genovese family, Gigante sat on the commission. About a week after his meeting with Manna, Scarfo traveled to New York and met with Gigante, Salerno, and Manna. Pete Casella and Rocco Marinucci also attended the meeting, but showed about 3 hours late. After hearing from both Scarfo and Casella, Scarfo was told by Gigante, Salerno, and Manna that he was the new boss. He was also told to kill all those who were involved in the Testa murder. Casella was instructed by Gigante, Salerno, and Manna to retire to Florida. Scarfo told Leonetti what occurred at the meeting when he returned from them. Philadelphia bars. Leonetti discussed a series of bars in Philadelphia that were owned by Scarfo/Scarfo family members or associates. The bars provided convenient and safe locations for celebrations, making ceremonies, the plotting of murders, and the luring of unsuspecting targets to their deaths. The Buckeye Club, the 9M Bar, Virgilio's, Old Timers Tavern, and Friendly Tavern were Philadelphia bars previously discussed in this report. This concludes our interaction about the 9M Bar.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Lee Productions. We love ya!